Okay, let's dive right into this explainer on a truly incredible biological anomaly. Today, we're looking at a tiny creature that literally defies one of the absolute most fundamental laws of nature, death itself. We're going to explore how a seemingly insignificant marine organism is forcing scientists to completely rethink everything we know about the aging process.
So I want you to imagine an animal facing a lethal threat. Maybe it's completely starving, or, it just got severely attacked by a predator. By every known metric of biology, it's game over. This creature should be dead. But what if, instead of dying, it simply reversed time? It doesn't just heal from its wounds, and it doesn't just regenerate lost tissue, it literally unhappens.
Scientists actually have a very specific name for this mind-bending capability. They call it being biologically immortal. And the absolute master of this incredible feat, the star of our explainer today, is a species known as Turritopsis Dohrnii. By the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why researchers think this little organism's secret could eventually unlock the mysteries of human aging.
All right, Section 1, the impossible immortal creature, a tiny titan of survival. When you hear the phrase immortal creature, your brain probably naturally jumps to something massive and ancient, right? Like some mythical leviathan lurking down in the deep ocean. But the reality is completely different. The smallest immortal thing you'll ever completely ignore is only about the size of your pinky nail. If you were swimming over a sunlit reef, it would just look like a translucent speck floating among the coral. It is so incredibly easy to miss, yet it holds one of the greatest secrets on Earth.
Moving on to Section 2, reversing the life cycle, or breaking the rules of nature.
To truly get how Turritopsis Dohrnii cheats death, we kind of need to look at what's actually supposed to happen in a normal timeline. A standard jellyfish life cycle flows sequentially. It starts out as a tiny larva, swimming around until it attaches to the seafloor. Then it grows into a polyp, which is almost like a small plant rooted in place. And finally, it blossoms and breaks off into a fully grown medusa. That's the classic free-swimming jellyfish shape we all know. In nature, that is supposed to be the definitive, final stage.
For pretty much any other creature on Earth, the game plan is strict: birth, growth, and eventually, decay. That's the script of life. But when our tiny titan reaches that final stage and faces a crisis, like starvation or injury, it just decides to completely rewrite that script. Instead of decaying, it hits a cellular reset button. Which brings us to Section 3, the science of transdifferentiation. Basically, forgetting how to die. When faced with a lethal threat, its biology gets truly mind-bending through this process called transdifferentiation. As the jellyfish begins to reverse, its structure physically loosens up. Its cells aren't dying. Instead, their membranes dissolve and they reassemble into entirely different types of cells. It's like a butterfly deciding, nope, things are way too dangerous out here, melting its own wings down and just turning back into a caterpillar. The mature cells literally forget what they are and remember how to be young again, transforming the adult medusa all the way back into a baby polyp.
And this really nails the sheer difference between us and them. For every other animal on Earth, humans included, aging is a rigid one-way street. We only move forward. But for Turritopsis Dohrnii, the cellular life cycle operates as a biological roundabout. It can just casually take the exit back to its youth whenever things get too dangerous.
Okay, Section 4, an accidental scientific discovery, the forgotten specimen.
Now you might be wondering how we even figured this all out. Surprisingly, this astonishing superpower wasn't uncovered through some billion-dollar high-tech quest for immortality. It was way simpler than that. Back in the early 1990s, a grad student named Christian Sommer was studying ocean life, and, well, he simply forgot to feed his jellyfish. He left them in their tanks, completely neglected, and eventually went back to check on what he assumed would be long-dead specimens.
But looking through his microscope in the dim light of the lab, Sommer realized those starving creatures hadn't perished at all. What he saw shouldn't have been biologically possible. The dying jellyfish hadn't died. It had reversed. It was a total accident, but it completely shattered our understanding of aging.
So let's look at Section 5, unlocking human aging. Can it work for us? Naturally, the second scientists confirmed this was actually happening, they immediately wondered about the applications for us. Today, modern geneticists are diving deep into the genome of this jellyfish, and what they've discovered is that it possesses genes that repair DNA with almost supernatural efficiency. That's a stark contrast to human DNA, which steadily degrades over time. Now, research is completely focused on understanding the exact mechanics of these cellular resets,
trying to see if the pathways for transdifferentiation could ever be mapped onto human biology.
But as enthusiastic as I am about this science, we absolutely have to remain objective. We are still decades away from anything even resembling a cure for human aging. As the source material beautifully puts it, this jellyfish isn't a fountain of youth for humanity. It's a flashlight pointed into a very dark room. It just shows us that reversing aging is biologically possible, even if we have no idea how to do it ourselves yet. Still, think about what this means for the natural world right now. It means that somewhere in the vast ocean at this very moment, there is a tiny creature the size of your pinky nail that has technically been alive since before your grandparents were even born. Through continuous, endless cycles of aging and reverting, some of these organisms could have been surviving out there for centuries. And the absolute most fascinating part, the jellyfish isn't actively trying to live forever. There's no grand design or conscious effort happening here. Through just a magnificent quirk of evolution, it simply never learned how to stop living.
So as we wrap up this explainer and reflect on this mind-blowing biology, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. Knowing what we now know about this biological roundabout, if you could hit reset on your own body and start over, would you?